Hello, hi everyone. My name is Monty if you're new here, and in today's video, I'm going to be creating my very own TBR jar. If you don't know, a TBR jar is basically any small container that you have and you take it and you fill it up with a bunch of different reading prompts so that when you're stuck in a bind or you don't know what you want to pick up next, you can kind of look to your TBR jar and pull something for inspiration. Most people use their TBR jar to create their monthly TBRs. I don't think I'm gonna do that just because I like to mood read, like a lot of people do, and I don't feel confident that I will stick to my monthly TBRs after already having done one. I did an okay job, but I just don't feel like pressuring myself into reading books that I don't want to for like an entire month. So instead, what I'm going to do is I think I'm gonna pull out my TBR jar or planter in my case and use it when I need inspiration for what to read for like a weekly vlog, or when I'm going to the library and I don't really have an idea of what I want to check out. I feel like I could use this as a really good resource. So again, when I feel like I need some help deciding what to pick to read, I'm gonna pull out my handy dandy TBR jar and go from there. So I have a little Word document pulled up, and it's just a table with a bunch of different cells, and I'm going to fill in those cells, print them out, cut them, and put them in my jar. The video is basically going to be us coming up with prompt ideas. I already have a few in mind, but I don't have enough to fill out the 50 cells that I have, so that's what we're gonna do. So far, the ideas that I have are based off of my reading goals for 2024. I think it would be great to tie in a lot of my prompts to what I actually want to achieve this year. So with that being said, the ones that I'm going to create are reread a favorite, read a classic, read a book that is longer than 603 pages, read a nonfiction, read something off your physical TBR, read a book that's a part of a series. And those are the ones that I've come up with so far that are based off of my reading goals for the year. Now I'm gonna put down some genre-specific reading prompts. So we're gonna do read a memoir, read a sci-fi, read a thriller, and read a historical fiction. Now I'm just gonna pick ones that I think of randomly. So let's do a one-word title, a book that intimidates me. That's actually gonna be pretty similar to a longer book because those are really the books that intimidate me the most outside of classics. A 5-star prediction, book by a Black author, book by an Asian author, book translated from a different language. I actually have a few ideas of what books those would be. Books set in a country that I've never read about. A short story collection. There are several of those that I'd like to get to. A book that is available immediately on the Libby app. A book that starts with M for Monty. Okay, I've only come up with 16 and I want to come up with 50, so this might take a while. A book with a sports focus. That could be fun and different than what I normally read. I do have a prompt for a long book, but I think I'm also gonna do a prompt for a short book, like a novella. Okay, I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas, so I think I'm gonna go online and look for TBR prompts and see which ones speak to me. Ooh, a debut novel. I like that. A Goodreads winner or nominee. A Booker Prize winner. That's a good one. Let's also do a Pulitzer Prize winner. Let's get learned. A YA LGBTQ book. I'm gonna choose this just because I have one in mind. Ooh, a retelling. That could be fun. A book set in a school setting. These are really hard to come up with. I didn't realize how hard this would be. This is kind of lazy, but I think I'm gonna do a few more books that begin with the letter blank. So let's do a book that starts with K, a book that starts with P. Those are just my initials. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? A book by Brandon Sanderson, because I've been meaning to read something by him forever and I feel like I'm just not going to unless I push myself a little bit. So let's do a book by Brandon Sanderson. A book about food. I actually love books about food, but I just have a hard time finding them. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know down below. A feminist book. I like that. A book with multiple POVs, a book with a number in the title, an urban fantasy. I'm gonna do a book that my boyfriend chooses for me, a book by multiple authors, a book with a person on the cover. Let's do a book with a green cover because that's my favorite color. A book that has a movie or TV adaptation, a book that ends in an odd number of pages. I like that one because it gives me a lot of leeway to pick a book that I actually want to read. My highest rated want to read book on Goodreads and my lowest rated want to read book on Goodreads. I don't even know what those are, so that will be fun to check out when I pull those. Okay, we only have to come up with 5 more. We can do it. A book with a place in the title, a book with a map, that's probably gonna be a fantasy book, a 5-word title, let's do that, my most recently purchased book. Okay, and we have one last one, let's make it good. Okay, for the last one, I'm gonna do a modern classic. I feel like that's pretty subjective, but it'll be fun to look up what people consider modern classics and read one of those. All right, I have written down 50 prompts. I'm going to print these off, cut them out, and put them into my jar, and we'll call it good. Okay, so these are my prompts. Just gonna cut them out really quickly. All right, we've done it. We've made the TBR jar. I'm super excited. I feel like this is gonna be really fun. It's gonna be like playing a game, both picking and not knowing what I'm gonna pick, but then having to decide what book matches the prompt. Yeah, if you are subscribed, then plan to see this puppy appear in the future. That is all for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.